This review of Stranger Things Season 4 is a video I want to do a little bit sooner, but for some reason, all the episodes of the series are a bajillion hours long. Why? I don't know. Stranger Things was something of a cultural phenomenon when it came out because everyone I knew was talking about it. Everyone I saw anywhere for the first 3 seasons was talking about just that show. It was one of the biggest shows Netflix has ever had. And certainly it's been one of the more unique series. It's got its own flavor to it. It's got some cool nostalgia in there with the whole 80s vibe. And it's a very interesting show to come back to. However, it had been 3 years since season 3 and I didn't watch any recaps beforehand. I kind of just had to hope that I still had a good memory, and it turns out I kind of remember most of it, more or less. Getting a bit older now, a little bit stupider. It's supposed to go the other way, doesn't quite work. But I remembered enough going into season 4 where I was pretty excited for season 4, even though all the kids from the show were no longer kids, and I wasn't really sure what to expect from the series. However, the first episode, I gotta say, I was really bored most of the episode. Yeah, episode 1, it wasn't great. The last 10 minutes is certainly ramped up, but the first 4 hours of it, at least that's what I felt like, it really dragged. There was a lot of, hey, remember this person? Hey, remember this person? Establishing where all the different characters were and who they're all buddying up with for the season. And then episode 2 came along and it was pretty much more the same. It was about a 4-hour episode, at least that's what it felt like. The main problem with the first 3 episodes of the series I found is that there's so many characters in the show. And what that led to was certain characters experiencing things, like say one of the characters sees the big grand ticking clock and they come back to their other friends and then regurgitate the story of what just happened to them. So they retell the story of what we've just seen. So we end up repeating things over and over again. And the first 3 episodes suffer massively from doing that because it just slows down the pace of the show massively. Now they do have big moments. Vecna appears for the first time and all the people with their bones being twisted and crunched and twisted and their eyes popping out. It's an interesting little visual and sets up a big bad guy. Of course, you've got side stories and B stories and all this. You got Hopper in Russia and we're wondering what's going to happen there. Joyce is trying to save Hopper and she's got her own little storyline. Of course, leaves all her kids to their own adventures in a city where, you know, they've been attacked by monsters and her kids been kidnapped a few times. And yeah, it's probably all right to leave them alone. Some of the episodes, as I mentioned, were a little drawn out. They were a little bit long. They had their moments, but overall, they could have been about an hour shorter, most of them. There's no real reason for all the episodes to be as long as they have been. They could have cut all the episodes in half. They all had climax moments that were anticlimactic. You know, we thought it was going to be the end of the episode and they just keep going. The series could have been a little bit longer. Maybe with volume 2, they're going to try to stretch it so there's exactly 11 episodes. If I was making Stranger Things, I'd make every season 11 episodes because, you know, your title character's name is 11. It just makes sense. However, I think they just made long episodes for the sake of long episodes. To be honest with you, I've enjoyed volume 1 so far. The overall story has been really good and the wrap up at the end of volume 1 sets it up really well for volume 2 in just a few months. However, despite the series and the story being interesting so far, I'm kind of dreading the final episode of Stranger Things Season 4 because I know it's 2.5 hours long. And I know that a lot of the longer episodes in this show have really dragged. So I'm fully expecting that 2.5 hour episode to be really dragged out. You know, maybe I'll be proven wrong and hopefully I am, but it looks like it's going to be a bad ending because it's just going to be too dragged out. There's a lot of stuff in volume 1 they could have completely cut out. All the recaps with people. The stuff with Elle being bullied at school was, yeah. The stuff where they're getting their powers back has been pretty cool. The whole reveal of 1, spoiler alert, that was pretty well done. The whole origin of Vecna has been done really well. And they leave it at a point where you're wondering, how are they going to stop Vecna? Now surely you're just thinking, 11's going to come along and kick his ass. Maybe. That's pretty much what happened in every other season with a big monster that comes from the upside down. 11 comes along and kicks its ass because, you know, all the other kids are just kids. The one thing I think volume 1 was perhaps missing for this type of show, killing off key characters. They haven't done it yet. They haven't killed off any major character this season. Maybe they will towards the end. They've kind of hinted it at the end of season 3 that they were doing it, but then Hopper survived. They've never really killed off a major character. A few side characters here and there. But if a major beloved character gets killed, it ramps up the emotional level. It ramps up the whole series to a new level. And maybe we're going to get that in volume 2. Who knows? Probably not. Overall, I think the series, the story was good. The storytelling perhaps let it down a little bit. The visuals were good, although at times, especially in the Upside Down, it was very difficult to see what was actually happening. The usual with the whole 80s vibe was really cool, it's really well done. Perhaps toned down this year. The story is getting a little chaotic in places in that there's 3 or 4 different side storylines going on all at once. But it's set up really well for Volume 2, as I mentioned, and I can't wait for Volume 2 in a couple of months. I'd love to hear your opinions on Stranger Things Season 4. Have you loved it? Have you hated it? What did you like about it? What did you dislike about it? Let me know in the comments section below.